Hello everybody, welcome to Snyder's Inc. And we got more Mr. Ballen for you today. That's what we're going to do today. We got more Mr. Ballen. The video is The Real Exorcism of Emily Rose, the horrifying case of Anneliese Michel. So, I think it's time we get into this. Are you guys ready? Because I'm ready. Let's go.
One of the most terrifying movies I have ever seen has got to be The Exorcism of Emily Rose. What really made it scary was that it was based on a true story. The true story of Anneliese Michel, who was a 23-year-old
Anneliese Michel. Wow, I said that name totally wrong. Oops.
girl living in Germany in the 70s. It was apparently possessed by demons, and there's a lot of audio recordings and some pretty incredible first-hand testimony of what happened to this poor girl. There's one scene in particular that, while it is a dramatization of what happened to Anneliese, it is certainly an accurate portrayal of what did ultimately physically happen to Anneliese Michel, and it is one of the most hair-raising.
So that scene plus actual audio from Real Exorcism included in this video. Oh boy, it's gonna be chill oriented, I can see it.
Horrifying scenes in movie history, in my opinion. It is just downright disturbing. And so today, I'm going to be looking at the real story that movie is based on, which is, of course, The Exorcism of Anneliese Michel. But before we get into today's story, if you are a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, well then you've come to the right channel, because that is literally all I do. And I upload 3, sometimes 4 times every week. So if that's of interest to you, if you could, please gently eviscerate the like button.
Don't eviscerate the like button, but also hit the subscribe button for his channel and for mine, because I found out most of you aren't subscribed. So subscribe. Because why don't you subscribe to me? I'm great. So is Mr. Ballen. So subscribe to his channel and subscribe to mine.
And then subscribe and turn on all post notifications so you don't miss any of my weekly uploads. Alright, let's dive in. Anneliese Michel was born in 1952 in Western Germany to a fiercely religious family. Devout Catholics who believed in some of the more extreme elements of the Catholic faith. Now, one of the things that they believed in and certainly pushed on to Anneliese and her siblings was this idea that sin could not be atoned on your own. It would require other people effectively sacrificing on your behalf for you to be absolved of your sin. And so Anneliese and her siblings would be instructed by her parents to, at times in the winter, sleep on the hardwood floor in order to repent for sinners that can't repent for their sins on their own. And so she'd be laying on the floor in the middle of the winter, thinking that what she was doing was saving other people from their own sin.
That's not how that works. No. Oh no. See, that's the problem with them Catholic people who, and I'm not talking like those people. I'm not talking about the ones that just go and whatever. I'm talking about the ones that believe it and believe in every single bit and part of it. Those ones are gonna always cause problems.
In 1969, Anneliese would have her first seizure. She was at school, she suddenly started seizing up and convulsing, and her classmates would later tell investigators and her family that it was almost like she'd entered into a trance-like state while she was having this seizure. And then as soon as the seizure had ended and she was done convulsing, she snapped out of the trance-like state. It wasn't until a year later when Anneliese had another seizure in the middle of the night. She had this convulsion and her parents come in and she's in this trance-like state and she's wet the bed and then she snaps out of it and she doesn't.
And I feel better now.
Doesn't know what happened. It wasn't.
How old is this girl? How old was she?
Until this second seizure that the family actually sought medical attention. They actually went to a neurologist. That neurologist.
So, hold on, I didn't make sure I heard this right. Did they say it was a year? My bad. Let me go back.
Snaps out of it and she doesn't know what happened. It wasn't until like state and she's wet night. She had this a year later when
Yeah, so 1 year later until she had a second one. That's like, so it took a year for a second one to kick in.
a neurologist would tell Anneliese and her family that what she was suffering from was something called temporal lobe epilepsy, where, you know, amongst a litany of horrible side effects, a few of the more significant ones are serious auditory and visual hallucinations, a loss of awareness, and intense mental state. So Anneliese was prescribed medication by this neurologist to try to combat this temporal lobe epilepsy, but it didn't seem to do anything. And in fact, her seizures and convulsions and this trance-like state she would go into during the seizures, it only persisted and intensified. And it got to a point where Anneliese and her family believed the best thing for her to do would be to go to a psychiatric hospital where the staff there was better equipped to handle what was happening to her.
Okay, so they're going into this thinking it's some type of medical thing. They're not going into it immediately thinking it's haunted. She's being possessed now, which makes sense because you wouldn't think that immediately. Or you probably wouldn't think that in general almost until it came like last resort, and that's the only thing you could think of. I'm worried because I know of one case of a woman being possessed, and I'm hoping this ain't it, but what I'm thinking of, but it might be.
And so she checks in willingly, and they start experimenting with different drugs, and nothing seems to work. And in fact, her condition only gets worse. She starts having more seizures and more convulsions, and she starts having a regular visual hallucination, whether she's having a seizure or not. Everywhere she looked, if she looked at anybody in the face, their face would become demonic. Like it would be a demon's face that would look at her and say, "You're going to rot in hell."
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell, I don't know. No, I don't want that. I don't want, nope. Nope, that's wrong. I don't want no piece of that. Oh, that's gotta be so disturbing. If that's actually happened to you. Oh, hell no, man.
And so she began not being able to look at people in the face, and she would tell the nurses and doctors, like with her head down, about these demon faces she was seeing. And it was the first time she began espousing this idea that she was in fact possessed by demons. In fact, 6 demons by her count. When she passed on.
One demon, I don't want to be possessed by one demon. Be possessed by 6, probably, I'm sorry, your body's still going.
That information to her family that she believed she was possessed.
Because I also think, like, when demons fight each other for control of the body, I'm surprised, because that's what I vision. Demons is all demons want control, so clearly I'm wrong here.
She and her family believed that the psychiatric hospital was not enough, and in fact modern medicine was really not enough to handle what was happening to her, that they would need to search for help outside of medicine, and so they turned to the Catholic Church. Initially, all the clergy that Anneliese and her family approached to try to help her with the situation rejected her request, and they said, "You need to seek medical attention. This is not something we can help you with." Not knowing where to turn, her family is kind of at a loss. At the same time, Anneliese's condition really nosedives. I mean, it was already pretty bad. It gets a lot worse. She began doing 400 plus squats every day, like compulsively doing squats. Then she began going under the table periodically and not coming out for 2 days, barking like a dog the entire time without sleeping. She began...
Okay, that's random. I don't know. I wouldn't know how I reacted if I saw that. If I saw a girl go under a table and bark like a dog for 2 days. No, man, that wouldn't be... That'd be weird to me. No, that's weird to me. That's too weird.
Go into corners of the house and finding spiders and eating them off the ground. She would scurry over to the fireplace and pull coal out of the fireplace and eat the coal. I mean, she was...
Oh, no, she gonna die. She was gonna die. Oh, she gonna die. Oh, no. Oh, this ain't no, yeah, this ain't no medical thing. No medical thing makes you do that. No, that's, because your medical thing can do it all, but you know when you're tasting something, that you know when you're about to eat something really stupid. So now that's something else controlling her ass, and she's going to fall brutally to it.
Was really losing it. Finally, the family located a priest named Ernst Alt, who believed she was possessed and that she was not epileptic.
Ernst Alt is his name? What a name. Weird ass name. What a weird ass name. Ernst Alt. I couldn't even try to, if I tried to say that fast, it wouldn't go that way.
And he was willing to petition the local bishop to allow the Catholic Church to perform an exorcism. And so that bishop granted permission for a local priest, Arnold Renz, to perform an exorcism with the full endorsement of the Catholic Church. Over the next 10 months, Renz would conduct 67 exorcisms of Anneliese. And through these exorcisms, Anneliese would reveal that she was being possessed by 6 demons: Lucifer, Cain, Judas, Nero, Fleischmann, and Adolf Hitler. And so all of these voices...
I don't know why. I can't answer. But one... I was already knowing she said Lucifer and Cain, because like, okay, so she's doing the stereotypical demon stuff. No, I say she probably wasn't possessed by them, but then I don't know why. I haven't itch on them, so I'm trying to... but when I heard the name Adolf Hitler, I broke. I almost broke inside. I'm laughing my ass off inside. Just because what a random, like he's. Why is he mixed in with those guys? Like those demons? What the hell?
These demonic voices that were coming out of Anneliese, they were picked up on audio recording during the exorcisms. And in the movie, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, the most iconic scene in the movie is the demon scene where they show off these voices coming out of, in the movie it's Emily Rose, but it's supposed to represent Anneliese Michel. And they do a fantastic job showing what that might have looked like during the exorcism. So take a look.
Give me your name, demon!
Names! Names! Moderator Armian Shashika!
Ancient serpents! Depart from this servant of God! Tell me your 6 names!
We are the ones who dwell within. Ushoshohen Batokai Queen Habitabit in Roy Case of Paraffin and you die Miglio Anablia. And I am Lucifer, the devil in the flesh.
And now I want you to take that...
Well, what a scene. By the way, I'm not watching that movie. That ain't what I'm not watching that movie. I'm not going to. I'm never going to watch that movie. I hope I don't get copyrighted for the fact that I played there. Like, I really hope so. But, holy shit, that is one of the most terrifying movie scenes I've ever seen in my life. That looked fucking terrifying. I ain't watching that movie, nope.
Scene you just watched of Emily Rose being possessed by these demons, and think about that as you listen to the actual audio recordings of Anneliese Michel during one of her many exorcisms.
Oh.
Microban 24. Touch after touch, it doesn't give up.
I'm gonna pause this for a second before we get into the actual video. Okay. Because I'm getting prepared, because I might, oh god. Oh, I need that. Because I might end up getting chills all up and down my body from this, so, oh, get ready, okay.
Ja, ich will auch für die anderen leiden, damit die nicht wiederkommen und so. Aber dass das dann so schlimm ist und so grausam und so furchtbar, nee.
I want to turn this down.
Gekletze. Nein, Gekletze. Der war mir Gekletze. Oh, so der will er nicht. Ich hab ein Maul erschlagen. Die Ruhe gibt nur der Hohn.
Ruhe gibt's nur dort, wo die Liebe ist.
Ja, bei uns gibt's nur ja nun. Die müssen in eigenen Seminaren ausgebildet werden, die dürfen nicht auf die anderen Universitäten. Kapiert?
Geist befehle ich dir auszufahren und nicht...
Initially,
I think they got Lucifer twice, didn't they? So, interesting.
the exorcisms seemed
But that is also the most terrifying thing. That was it. Oh my god. I gave chills, but I had to wait till it was all done. Oh my god. That's all I can say to it. Oh my god. I don't know what to say to it. I poor girl. I don't know what to say.
to make things better for Anneliese. She got to a place where these seizures and convulsions and trance-like states and odd behavior were so few and far between that she actually re-enrolled in university and was even able to attend church, but it didn't last. In the spring of 1976, Anneliese's convulsions and seizures and odd behavior came back tenfold, and she began becoming violent with her family members to where they couldn't even be around her without being attacked by her. But when she was left on her own, she would harm herself. She stopped eating, saying that the demons were not allowing her to eat, and all day long she would stand up and then drop to her knees to pray, and then get back up and drop to her knees to pray, breaking both her kneecaps and tearing the tendons in her knees, which seemingly did not faze her. But still, her family believed that what she needed was religious intervention, not medical intervention. Also, Anneliese felt the same way, but some might say that she was not in a position to make that decision, that she had lost her ability to make that decision. But
Oh, hell yeah, she did. Oh, absolutely she did. The moment she got up and kept dropping to her knees and pretty much breaking both her kneecaps and all that, and it doesn't faze her, yeah, you've lost your right to decide what's best for you. Absolutely, you 100% lost. Yeah, you don't have the right to decide your fate anymore. I'm sorry, but that's just the way. Once you're a danger to yourself and you're harming yourself, you've lost your chance to decide your fate. Decide how you're treated. Now, unfortunately, the people who do decide are also stupid, apparently, because they're still banking on this exorcism shit. But, you know, their stupidness.
either way, they continued with the exorcisms. The final exorcism of Anneliese took place on June 30th, 1976, and while Anneliese did submit willingly to this exorcism, she was incredibly frail. She weighed under 100 pounds, and by the following morning, on July 1st, 1976, she had passed away due to dehydration and malnutrition. She was only 23 years old. After her death, Anneliese's story was so sensational that it grabbed headlines all over Germany, and people were clamoring to learn more about how this could happen. That she was, apparently possessed and then died after all these exorcisms. Why wasn't there medical intervention? There was so many questions. And so ultimately what happened is her parents were charged with negligent homicide, but were actually not given a jail sentence because at the time in Germany, they ruled that the parents had already suffered enough, so they did not serve any jail time. And there were two priests, one of them being Renz, who were charged with negligent manslaughter, and they were sentenced to 6 months in jail. That was later suspended. To this day, people are absolutely split down the middle about what actually happened to Anneliese Michel. Was it possession, or was it, like the neurologist said, a form of epilepsy, or was it something else? And furthermore, was psychiatric treatment or was modern medicine doing enough to help her? Or were they failing just as much as the exorcisms ultimately failed? It's a question that to this day people are really unsure how to answer. Her gravesite has become sort of like a monument for many churches around Europe. They will go and basically make the pilgrimage to her gravesite to pay their respects to a girl that they believe in some way died for their sins. So what do you think this was? Was this demonic possession, or was this epilepsy? Or was it something else? And how do you think they should have treated this case? I mean, obviously the medication she was on was not making it any better, but at the same time, the exorcisms didn't seem to do much better either. So how do you treat something like this? Let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll do my best to respond to as many as I possibly can. All right, that's going to do it, guys. If you were interested in this story and like this type...
Alright, everybody, go ahead, subscribe to his channel. That's what I need you to do. I need you to subscribe to his channel. Also subscribe to mine. Wow, what a story. What I thought was happening there. It could have been possession, but then it might have been a scenario where the possession thing went too far and it stopped being possession. Because I probably still believe she had a medical issue. I bet she had a medical issue that needed to be taken care of. And due to the fact that nobody was treating it, the medical issue too, it just didn't stop. And the medical part took over is the main thing, and then they just kept thinking it was an exorcism, so it caused her death. It's unfortunate, and the poor girl suffered for nothing. Just straight suffered. But guys, thank you all for watching. And I'll see you on the next one, which I tell you is gonna be long. Really fucking long. So I'll see you guys.